Hi friends, the following video is part of my SkillShare course, How to Write an Academic Journal Article. I hope that you find this video useful in isolation, but if you would like to have access to all of the videos listed behind me, the entire SkillShare course, you can click on the link below. This link will also give you 1 month free premium access to SkillShare. In this section we are going to look at where you might choose to publish. So this is something we want to look at fairly early so that when we actually do the writing of our article, we have a good idea of the style and structure and contents that will be suitable for the journal we're interested in publishing in. So in order to work out where we might publish, one of the things we can do is consider which journals we saw regularly during our literature review. If we kept seeing the same journals over and over in our literature review, that suggests that they could be suitable for our work as well, since in our literature review we're looking for the articles that are most relevant to our work. The second thing we want to do, if we can, is to ask a mentor, a supervisor, or someone that's maybe a little bit more experienced in the field. So being able to talk to someone, and if you don't have a network of such people, even reaching out somewhere like Twitter or LinkedIn and saying, here's this piece of research I'm thinking about writing. What are your thoughts on this particular journal, or just in general, where do you think could be a good place for me to publish? And hopefully if you have someone that's a little bit more experienced, they can give you a little bit of guidance. So you want to look at your research questions and what you're planning on doing and say, well, does this fit with a particular journal's aims and themes? Journals will typically have a set of themes or topics that they are particularly interested in, and when you submit an article, the first thing that will happen is the editor will look at your abstract, maybe skim through the article to determine whether they think it's a good fit for the journal. Something that's also really helpful is to look for special issues. So a special issue is where there is a very specific theme to that particular issue. And it can be really good if you have something that fits really nicely in the special issue. Not only does that help you determine where you might submit to, but special issues will normally have a due date. They'll be coming out at a certain time, so it can help push your work along. And sometimes it can increase the chances of being published, because for a special issue, people will really need to have done work that fits closely to that very specific theme. So this one is a little bit hard to describe, but basically there's a Goldilocks zone somewhere. We don't want to aim too high, we don't want to aim too low. And this is where talking to a mentor or talking to someone with a little bit more experience can be very helpful. Because we want to publish in the best journal we can, but it's got to be one that will publish us. So journals have particular levels of esteem. There's a number of different journal ranking systems that will tell you kind of how good a journal is in terms of a particular ranking metric. And we want to have a high ranked journal, but the very highest ranked journals are the ones that are generally also the most difficult to get published in. So we want to find one that is as high ranked as possible but will publish us. We also want to make sure we avoid predatory journals. If you jump on to Google or YouTube, search for predatory journals as a phrase, then you will see plenty of information about these. On YouTube, I have a video where I talk about how to identify one. Basically, these are journals that don't have any academic rigor, and they are really just there to try and capture a fee. So they will try and charge you in order to publish your paper. It's not the only way to determine if a journal is predatory. Some of the very top ranking journals also charge a fee, but if a journal is not a highly esteemed famous journal and it's charging a fee, there's a good chance that it could be a predatory journal. And you really want to avoid those. In terms of your reputation as a writer, there's nothing to be gained by saying I published this paper and then when people look it's in a dodgy looking journal. So you want to have a legitimate, reputable journal that you're publishing in. The last thing you might consider is whether to publish open access. So there are some journals where they are fully open access, and then there's others that are not fully open access, but they give you the option of open access. This is nice because it means your work is not behind a paywall, and so it can help more people get access to your work. There are some cases where the open access is the component that gets charged for, and so that's something you would then need to consider, but it's certainly something that, when you can, I think is really good. Being able to have more people access your research rather than putting it behind a paywall